right. Hello, everybody. It's great to see some more familiar faces again. So this is our last of the Taking Virtual series. And today's topic is going to be on how to adapt your virtual residency with Fairfax County middle schools and with the after school program in middle schools. This is the final of our 4 online sessions. So please be sure to check back at our website for previous sessions that were recorded. And I'll also be sending out an email once we have those on there. My name is Danielle Stobie, and I'm the Arts Education Manager with ArtsFairfax, and I'll be helping to moderate today's workshop. This session is being recorded, and as I said before, we'll be following up with when those recorded sessions are available. Go ahead and double check that you are muted. We'll have time throughout the presentation for questions. And at those times, you can either use the raise your hand feature and I'll unmute each person, or you can type your questions into the chat box where I'll help to monitor and then we can answer those. If you're having any technical difficulties, you can email our Information and Technology Manager, Karan, and I'll be putting that information into the chat as well. I'd like to start by thanking, we've got a couple of speakers here today from Fairfax County. Our first speaker is Kara Drinkwater. Kara is an educational specialist with administrative curriculum writing, staff development, and teaching experience. She has held positions in administration, supervision, staff development, and instruction. Her experience includes Institute for the Arts Coordinator, Administrator for Secondary Schools in Loudoun County, GMU Adjunct Instructor for Art Strategies in the Masters of Art and Teaching program, Cooperating Teacher Mentor for GMU and JMU pre-service art teachers, and art instructor on all levels K through 12. And I'm going to go ahead and also introduce our other speaker, Shannon Campbell. Shannon is in her 15th year with Fairfax County. She started off as a special education teacher before taking on the after-school program specialist role. She spent 10 years running the after-school program at Thorough Middle School and is now in her 2nd year at Rocky Run Middle School. And they have been running virtual programs this year to keep students engaged from home. And I'll go ahead and take it away with Kara.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see some of you again. I see some familiar faces on there, and I see new faces, so it's wonderful to meet you all. I'm excited to bring a little bit of Fairfax to you all today. I apologize in advance for the 3 children and 2 dogs that are running around my house, but we all understand these are unusual times. Anyhow, okay, so I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I do have a Google slide presentation that I have created for you all. I want to, let's see, pick my screen here and share. And can you all see the presentation? Let's see. File, present. Is everybody on? Can everybody see the FCPS Fine Arts presentation? Great. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to bring you some information about what a residency with Fairfax County Public Schools after school program brings to all of you. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the realities of preparing for something like that. And what it is that it would really entail on your end and the excitement of working with those kids and the appropriateness and all of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'll turn it over to Shannon, and Danielle will introduce Ms. Campbell, and she'll give you some more information about the actual after school program itself. Okay. So thank you for my introduction. Like I said, like Danielle said, I've been working with Fairfax County Public Schools for quite some time. This is, I think, year 19 for me. And I did do a brief stint for 2 years in Loudoun County as an assistant principal, being an administrator in secondary schools. It was really more of like an intermediate school, and a middle school for those 2 years. And then this position opened up in Fairfax County, and I quickly came back for this leadership role. And predominantly, I run the Institute for the Arts during the summer program. And then throughout the school year, I work with other programs like ArtsFairfax. So what I'm going to share with you first is the FCPS Fine Arts Summer Learning Program. So when COVID hit, we got that hiatus, and we ended up having to come up with a virtual program that would offer our students something to do at home to connect them to the arts, other than obviously the Institute for the Arts. So this wasn't a virtual IFTA, it was an FCPS Fine Arts Summer Learning Program that was run by all different types of teachers across our county. And they were strictly FCPS employees. So I'm going to take you to this link here. Our school board met in June timeframe, actually, and they were extremely devastated to learn that the summer IFTA program was going to be canceled. And so our school board members were like, well, what's next? So that gave us in the Fine Arts office, and mainly me and Tamara Ferreira, the coordinator of our entire department, about 2 weeks to pull something together for all of FCPS students that were going to be home that would be able to access the arts. So we worked on this website for 2 weeks. We hired staff the following week, and then they were, jumping into this program at the very beginning of July. This program had different types of directions on it every single time, and you could go through and the kids had to actually register via email. And as you scroll down this webpage, we made connections for our social media accounts. And then we had art, music, theater, dance for K through 6 and 7 through 12, the same. You could see here, if I went to the art page, there was an art teacher that had her information posted. We knew what school she was from. We had connections to each one of her pages. So kindergarten and first grade could log in every week, click on KN1, and they could follow along each week with each of this artist's lessons. Each teaching artist created a presentation. Sometimes it was a YouTube video. Sometimes it was just a slide deck, and which was fine. And teachers were able, and students, shall I say, were able to follow along. Because it was a free program, students did not have to pay for this. It was paid for by our office. We made the supplies as basic as could be and as affordable as could be. There were even some classes that were mostly found objects in your house. But there were also a lot of students that in Fairfax County may have already had these supplies. And so we tried to tell our teachers, try to make it not so expensive for parents to go out and spend money. A little watercolor set, a sketch pad, construction paper, scissors, glue, things that we knew that they would have at home. And they could come in each week and find a different type of lesson from teachers. Now, we also offered, this teacher in particular did not offer synchronous instruction, but we had 2 other teachers for elementary art that taught claymation for the first 3 weeks, and then recycled art for weeks 4 and 5. And so this was Arthur Renault. If I go back to the homepage for art, you'll see Arthur on the homepage here. That was the Miss Jarvis for regular art. And then this Mr. Renault was our claymation and recycled art teacher. And he was just so energetic and so involved and really engaging for students. And we had a stitchery and weaving teacher also. And then moving up for 7th through 12th grade art, we had cartooning, we had cell phone photography, exploratory drawing and painting, and then digital art. And so a lot of these things, a lot of these programs, our kids don't have Photoshop at home. So how is it that we were able to get them to do digital art? Well, these teachers had to come up with a way to teach these lessons with online programs, things that were available on the internet. Some of our teachers already had a lot of this stuff created, working some of these PowerPoint presentations, all of that. Now, some of you might go, well, how can I get to this website? Can I check all this out? Can I look at these lessons? Unfortunately, the answer to that is no. The reason being is this is an FCPS Google site, and any outside person could not get to this website. You had to have a student Google account. It is FCPS policy across the board that safety and security of our students, especially while they're online, is paramount. That's number one. And so unfortunately, we had a lot of families that went to private schools or were outside of the county that were like, my kid wants to do it. I live in Fairfax County. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but we cannot make accounts for you. And so that is something that you'll encounter when working with Fairfax, is that you have to be linked through an FCPS teacher. And students have to have their Google Drive accounts to get into this suite. So back to the webpage, we also had lots of music teachers. We had a middle school music teacher that took care of all of the elementary. We had a drumming teacher at Lee's Corner. We had a contemporary vocals teacher who did a lot of fun stuff with different music styles. We had a 6th grade strings teacher and a 6th grade band teacher. So we tried to tap into each of those things that kids might be involved in during the school year, that they really connected with a teacher. And now, oh, I get to do it with another teacher during the summer, which was pretty exciting. Then let's see, I'll show you just an example. The drumming teacher, she had interactive Google slides, which was very cool. So if I went to this presentation, you can view it in present mode. I think we are. But she was just, I mean, the most energetic. Can you hear that? Yeah. So each of those, every week, I mean, she went through all of this travel around the world kind of theme and concept. And then you can see here, she then starts to connect it to the actual lesson that she is kind of presenting in terms of the content of the music. So here I'll play this little section.
Oh, hold on, Kara.
Okay.
It's a little bit it's a little hard to hear. So I'm wondering, I don't know if it could be the volume, or it could be that sharing the audio through your computer might help. Maybe
Okay.
do that through Zoom.
There is. All right, let me go back to, let's see, if I go back up here. Let's see, select a microphone speaker. And is it I wonder if it's the switch to same as system? Have you done that before?
I'm not sure.
I wonder if I try to undo my headphones, if that would work.
Let's see, we can try that.
See. And then of course the dog starts barking. Okay, let's try that. Let's see. Can you hear it? No, I didn't think so. Okay. Well, anyway, so what she does here is that she kind of goes through and she makes connections. The kids work their way through these presentations, and then she teaches them rhythm about, you know, different types of patterns, and this is kind of flying through. And then she plays games with them and she interacts with them. The key point here is that they have a connection to places. There's something else to think about besides the content of rhythm and what she's trying to teach them. So that is just one example of how one teacher has worked on that. And she had something like that prepared for every single week. And so did every teacher in this program. Now, let's see if I go to 7 through 12 music. We had a strings teacher, we had a guitar teacher, jazz band, show choir, and then 6 through 12 theater. Miss Deanie, she's actually an Institute for the Art teacher. She taught 2 different grades level as well. Let's see. 7 through 12 theater, we had acting, we have creative writing, musical theater, theater sports improv, which was like improvisation, obviously, and then technical theater design and production. And actually, Miss Jalajal, I know I'm probably saying that wrong. She is FCPS's Teacher of the Year this year. So she was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I would log in and listen to their meetings. And it was pretty awesome to listen to kids from across Fairfax County coming together online and talking about acting and stage work and improv. And they work together like just almost like flawlessly. It was very seamless. And I thought I was very impressed with the kids and the teachers and everybody being able to work together. So as I said, you can go through and you can see different types of teachers that we had. We had for dance as well. We had some really amazing teachers that would come. This teacher did, Miss Reagan, she did dance exploration each week. And then I had a summer dance intensive with Miss Epstein. She works at Bailey's elementary upper school, and she did TikTok dances and hip hop dances. And one of the things she asked me, she's like, is it okay if I teach them TikTok dances? I said, absolutely, but you can't tell them to download the app. And I said, you can talk about it, but you can't say, go here and download this onto your phone. That's limitations that we have with Fairfax County, of course, is that you are not authorized to tell students to download things on phones. It's not even safe to assume that middle school kids all have a phone. You have to be prepared to teach a lesson to these students with limited resources. And so not all kids are going to have a phone, and you're going to have to think of a way to get them to take a Kahoot or an assessment or answer questions for you through a different medium besides a cell phone. You have kids from across Fairfax County that are working together online, and you need to just make that assumption that there are kids that definitely do not have those things. And so be prepared in advance to make sure that they are also feeling included and are able to complete all of those tasks that you're asking them to do. So this teacher was really fun and exciting. And like I said, this website was really just something where all of these kids could come together during the summer and work on different types of summer fine arts programming. And they actually really enjoyed that. Now, let me switch reel here. So we've looked at the teacher pages. I want to point out that we have photographs and short descriptions. So it's extremely important to have something like this for students to see. It makes you personable. It makes you someone they're looking forward to working with. they want to know what they're going to do with you. So a little description, and how's it going to be fun? So when I hired all of these teachers, I said to them, I want a description that sounds like summer fun. If it was boring, I sent it back to them and I said, send me something else, because this doesn't sound like a middle school kid is going to want to work with you. This is dry. This sounds like class that they're getting in school during the school year. This is extra. This is above and beyond. And you want them to come back week after week. And it's just like that with the after school program. So think of your descriptions. How can you make it personally relevant to that student? What can you do to make it look like they are going to be excited when they're in your class to work with you and to do the lessons that some plans that you have for them. So you can give them a little taste of some of the ideas in your description of what it is that you're going to create or what those lessons are going to look like. But you want to make sure that your description sounds fun. Okay. And that's something that I'm certainly happy to read and send back to you with feedback. Okay. But again, a lot of our fine arts dance teachers and theater teachers, they all have professional photos done because those are their headshots. So go outside and take a nice picture of yourself with some pretty green trees behind you, or now golden, but and really make it something the kids are kind of drawn to. Okay, so that it was an important part. So then also some sample pictures of projects. Maybe you've already created the lesson, or you've done the dance or something. Those are some important things that you're going to want to share with kids. And then make sure you embed your videos into any slides, because it's extremely hard to download those videos. So you want to maybe already have them linked on a YouTube or something like that, where they're kind of already processed. Okay. Okay. Marketing. So
Sarah,
yes,
sorry.
Go ahead.
We had a question from Shauna that is relevant to what you were talking about. She wanted to know, is it still open for her kids to access? They are in Fairfax County.
Yes, absolutely. The website's still there. We never took it down. And so when I share with this with you, Danielle, it'll have the link so you can share it out with everybody. But if they click on the link in this presentation, it'll take them right to that homepage. So absolutely. And then they just have to make sure that they're logged in to Drive in their Google account, and then it will totally work. Yep. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't see the chat. I don't know. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So thank you for interrupting me and telling me. Okay, so marketing. Why is it important to market yourself in the middle school program? Because you want those kids to come back week after week. We talked about that a little bit. I touched upon that. We need to make sure that the kids are getting together. You want to draw them in. So marketing can be done very easily with Canva. I use Canva all the time. It's a free online website. And I'm going to show you briefly Canva on this website and how you can go ahead and design anything. So it's Canva, like canvas without the S. And on here, it'll ask you up at the top, do you want to make a flyer, social media, a poster, an Instagram post? Do you want to do an invitation, a story, all this, a logo? And they have thousands of templates that you can use that are mostly free. There are some that when you open them up, it'll tell you whether or not it's like going to cost you money, but I can't even tell you how many things that I've designed. So on here, these are all of the designs that I've done. I'm currently building a web page for Fairfax County. And so there's some beautiful fonts on here that you can use. I do a newsletter on here every month. I do 2 newsletters, actually. I do little social media advertisements, things that are animated. I highly recommend that you create for yourself a flyer. What are the kids going to do in your class? So here's an example of we're hiring for IFTA. This is a very basic flyer that I made that has, images. It has my logo. It has a QR code. It has contact information, who I'm hiring, all of that. Then I can edit it and change it. It's very easy once you work through your template. So say, for example, I want to, I don't want to work with this one anymore. So crazy though, it actually like, it opens it up in a new window. So that's something to be aware of. So let's see, if I wanted to, I'm going to go back to the home page and I want to create a flyer. And so if I look here on the left for my flyers, here is an example, oh, art showcase, or, you know, missing dog, or business flyer, or whatever. This is kind of fun, relevant, middle school. Maybe you're going to do a dance class. Look, it's mostly done for you, you know, so you can go in here, click on anything, you know, after school music. All right. And then you can highlight it. You can make it a little bit smaller so it all fits. And then you can put the dates. You can take your photo. So on my left-hand side of my screen, I'm going to go to all of my photos that I have uploaded under uploads and say, you know, I want, oh, I don't want that there actually. I want to delete this. I know this is time consuming. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Undo. So this program is a lot actually like Google, and it auto saves everything, which is so nice. And I don't want this text box at all. There it is. Oh, and I keep hitting the background. I'm sorry. So delete. There we go. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to insert a picture. So I want to go back to my photos and my uploads, and I'm going to take a picture, and I want it, I'm just going to rest it right here for a second. There's a way where you can kind of have it go off the screen a little bit. Maybe I need to insert a text box. Okay, hold on. Oh, wait, here we go. On the left, I want to take and add an element. So maybe I will put in a shape, and then, because for some reason my shape isn't working, but then I'm going to insert a photo into that. So let me go back. Why isn't that working? There we go. So you can work on, maybe I didn't need that. It just kind of finally floated on top. So you can work on including a picture of yourself. You can crop it. Something personable that the kids are going to be like, oh, she looks so nice, or he looks awesome and so much fun. And then you can play with it and then just kind of work on whatever. But come to guitar, after school music. Guitar is awesome. And then you can add other details, okay? These are things that you can use to market yourself. Make a flyer, a one-page thing, even a half a page. Cut it in half. Save it as a PDF. Email it to the teachers that you'll be working with in connection to those schools, and they can send it out to in their newsletters to students that might be interested in signing up for a guitar class. Okay, look at this cool new teacher we have from ArtsFairfax that is going to be working with students. This is the flyer, all the information, and then you want to put a couple of fun things, little description of, you know, what they might do with you. Learn to play this song, or no experience necessary, or something to hook them in and get them to come and work with you. I'm going to tell you that they don't care that you have 5 children or 7 grandkids, or that, you know, you went to such and such school. You don't need to include a lot of personal information. Maybe you can say, oh, you know, I have 10 years experience playing guitar. That's cool. That's something that makes you sound reputable and credible to be a guitar teacher. But don't make it too personal. Make the flyer look fun, engaging, something that, you know, they're going to want to be drawn in with. okay? And all right, so that's Canva in a nutshell. And if you have troubles with that, I can certainly help you to upload that. So how can you visually show yourself? That's how, with Canva. The most appealing things to a middle school student are fun and time with friends and learning something cool. That's it. They want to learn something that maybe they haven't experienced before with you, and they need to be able to connect with their friends as well. Show you want them to show their friends your flyer. Take guitar with me. Look at how fun this looks, right? What type of materials will each student need? That's another thing, sorry, that they're going to need to be prepared for. So yeah, you kind of need a guitar, right? You have to have a guitar if you're going to do guitar online. We're not delivering guitars to your homes. So if you're going to do an after school guitar club, you probably should have a guitar. So something you want to put on the flyer, because there's always going to be a parent that emails and asks, where do I pick up my guitar? Right? And then what can you share about yourself that will make them interested in getting to work with you as their teacher? So a friendly photo is a strong aspect of that. And then maybe one cool, quirky fact about you, or something that makes you kind of visually, or just something cool, something appealing. Like, I learned to play the guitar when I was in 7th grade and I haven't put it down since. I just love it, or something like that, something personable, because you want to make them want to work with you. Okay. All right. So making it relevant. What connections will they make between the work that they are doing with you themselves as an artist, a person, and a middle school student? So you need to make sure that it's relevant to them. It needs to, you have to think about, put yourself in a middle school child's brain. What is it that they're interested right now in? Mostly social media, right? Mostly YouTube videos, things of that sort. But what are some of the things that they have to, that are going to hook them in? Okay. And that's kind of one of the things that we just talked about. So think about that dance teacher. She did all TikTok videos. She knew the high school student, her target audience, mostly females that sign up for dance classes, and mostly female high school students are all doing TikTok videos. So a simple Google search might tell you what are middle school kids into right now. Maybe you have a family friend that has a middle schooler. It might benefit you to connect with them and say, okay, what's hot right now with middle school? And then, make sure to include something like that in your lessons and in your work. Okay. All right. Creating a plan. So I want to make sure, I know Ms. Campbell has to go by 1 o'clock. So I want to make sure I'm not too long-winded here. And I think I've only got, 2 more slides. And we go, Danielle, until 1.
We have it until 2, but I don't think it'll take the whole time. I mean, a lot of it can be for questions.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then, so I'll go for Shannon, how much, Ms. Campbell, how much time do you think you'll need?
I'll only need 5 to 10, 10 minutes or so.
Okay, perfect. So I'll go for 10 more minutes, and then I'll cue in Ms. Campbell. Okay, awesome. All right, so next is creating a plan. You want to think about how you're going to sequence your instruction in a virtual environment. So you want to be prepared is my main key, okay? You're going to think about, okay, they did this wrong. How do I fix it? Or what recommendations do I have so the kids don't get frustrated and then all of a sudden you lose them, okay? What happens when, the lesson that you created for them was way too difficult? Maybe it was way too hard or way too easy and they flew through it. So you have to be prepared to have something easier to do, a backup plan. You're going to need to make sure that you have maybe something more to add at the end. Maybe you want to show them, they just did this lesson, they prepared, they, kind of worked all the way through, they created their artwork, they played this song or whatever it is they learned. And then all of a sudden you're done and you've got like 25, 30 minutes left. Well, the next thing is for you all is to make sure that maybe you have another artist that you could introduce them to through a YouTube video, or check this out. Look how this artist did this in their artwork, or and the same concept. So make sure you have enough things to fill your time when you're working with those kids. You don't want to be just sitting there and then, you know, you've got 20, 30 minutes left over because the kids flew through the project, okay? How much can be finished in an hour? How much time should you be talking to students? How much, you know, how much attention span does a middle school kid have? So my recommendation, no more than 15 minutes of talking. No more than 15 minutes. They don't have the attention span to sit and listen to you talk for 15 minutes. They want to check in with you. They want to say hi. They want to see what it is they're doing this week. They want the instructions. They want a quick demonstration. Okay, now your demo could be separate from your talking, right? But after that, they need to go and do a warm up. They need to do a sketch. They need to practice with the instrument. They need to jump right in. So my strict rule for middle school, no more than 15, 20 minutes max, maybe, of you talking at them. They can't sit there like that. It's an after school program. It is engaging. It should be fun. And they don't want to sit and listen to, they don't want to sit and listen to you talk for more than 15 or 20 minutes. They want to jump right in. They've got so much energy. Okay. So a lot can be finished in an hour if you limit it to 15 minutes of you talking, or 20 minutes max. Okay. So production, I would say, I mean, they're doing this virtually, so they can clean up after you say goodbye, right? Their parents can help them pack things up, you know, or clean the table off. Those are all things that fine arts teachers have to do during their classroom when we were face to face. But now if it's virtual, you can have them work all the way up to the end and say, okay, guys, see you next week, right? And then they pick it up and clean up and pack up. And, you know, you can give them tips like make sure you put this somewhere to dry where your dog's not going to walk on it, or make sure, you know, you save your video before you log out, and you give them all those closing instructions, and then they can do those 15 minutes on their own. Okay. But I would say you start with your introduction for 15 or 20 minutes. They might have some clarifying questions. You might give them a virtual worksheet that they have to fill out to help them brainstorm to come up with ideas for their art type. And then maybe then you bring them back after they do that, and they watch you do a demonstration of, you know, how to cut tiles, how to carve clay, how to play the guitar string chords, or how to whatever. And then, or you're demonstrating the dance moves, right? And then they go back and they work on it, and they routine, and they rehearse, and they practice, and they demo, and they paint, and they draw, and, you know, and they just really get into what it is that you have them doing. So, clean up, like I said, they can do that on their own time, and you give them kind of their farewell instructions, and then that will be that. Okay. All right. Next, classroom management. So this is something that Ms. Campbell will actually talk about as well a little bit. So she might have a little bit extra to add to this, but monitoring and dealing with online behaviors is something that you're going to have to do. Okay. And online behaviors, kids are more brave behind their keyboard. Okay. They, and actually most people are more brave behind their keyboard. Lots of people type things online because they're home and they're behind their keyboard that they wouldn't say face to face, right? They wouldn't say it to their teacher in school. They wouldn't say it to their parent, whatever. But when they type, they're a lot more brave. There are times where students will log in with, you know, in certain types of platforms, they are told that they must log in with their first and last name. Okay. Now, a lot of times too, with Google, they're logged in as their student account. So their name is there anyway, I believe. Don't quote me on that because I haven't run student sessions this year, but I'm fairly certain that when they're logged in, they're already linked to their ID. So they can't come up with a new screen name that's extremely juvenile, immature, meant to be disruptive, meant to make another kid laugh and cause a problem, okay? You cannot record your sessions, okay? You can record your demonstration videos and send those to be shared with students, but you cannot record sessions of students on these meetings that you have with them. And you certainly can also not share anything on social media without parent permission. So say you have your own personal artist account, and on your artist account on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, you decide, oh, I'm going to share that I'm working with Fairfax County students and I'm so proud of the work that they've done. This is so awesome. You can certainly share it and say, a student in my school after school program at such and such middle school did this work. How awesome is it? Right? But you cannot say, little Johnny Smith at this school in 3rd grade, you can't use identifying factors like that for student safety and security. Now, if you have parent permission via email or anything like that, that in writing, whatever, then that's fine. You can share it and you can say, this 3rd grader, look at how cool he is, because there's a lot of families that they might not be concerned about, student online security and identities and things like that. But there are more and more, a lot of families that are now today concerned about things like that, okay? So be very careful, err on the side of caution and just don't post it or post it as, young boy, young girl, whatever, shared this on social media and you can share their artwork or whatever, as long as there's no identifying features in there for who the student is, okay? Now, again, their login names, make sure if you are using those platforms that they're using their names and you review the rules at the beginning of each class. Students join an online class, they're muted when they're logging in, so they can't just come in and start blurting out and be disruptive and things like that. So you will greet them, good morning or good afternoon, or well, good afternoon because it's after school. Great to see you all. Let's again remember to be respectful of each other, keep our comments positive, things like that, just to kind of remind them of those rules at the beginning of each class. And then should something go wrong, should somebody write something that they aren't supposed to, should somebody say something to another student that is going to cause an issue, you have to deal with it. Or you at least have to communicate with the FCPS employee that you'll be linked with in each school to let them know that it happened and that parents need to be contacted. So some person in a chat, some middle school child says to another middle school child, that's so awful, that's ugly, something negative, and you can clearly visibly see that the other kid got upset, or maybe you can't visibly see that they get upset because maybe their camera's off or something like that, then you need to address it with both families. And so a simple email, hey, I just wanted to give you a heads up about something that happened in class today. And then I just wanted you to be aware and maybe talk to your child about the incident and make sure they're okay. I was concerned. And then the other instance is, hey, I just wanted to let you know that your child said this, and could you please, we do talk about at the beginning of each class being respectful and responsible and nice and kind to everybody. But this was said and he might or she might not have meant it that way. But I just want to let you know that, we need to be mindful of how to behave in an online forum towards our peers. Okay, things like that. And then always, one of my other rules is that I always add something positive about that child when sending a negative email. So in other news, their work they're creating is pretty awesome. And I was really impressed by, how much dedication and time they spent on the work, so that it doesn't sound just like a negative feedback email. You know, sometimes people say it's like the sandwich method, positive, negative, positive. So come up with an email home or even a phone call, something positive, address the negative with facts, not assumptions, and then wrap it up with something positive. You know, I'm so happy they're participating, yada, yada, all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to pause right there and I'm going to let Ms. Campbell come in and share a little bit more details about the after school program. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Kara. Hi, I am Shannon Campbell, and I run the after school program at Rocky Run Middle School. I've been with after school now for my 13th. This is my 13th year, I believe, 12th year. I don't know, losing count. A while. We're really fortunate in Fairfax that every middle school has a really developed, advanced after school program that's open to all students. So we service a lot. My partner here, I kicked the children out, but they've come back. Our program is open to whichever students want to participate. It's free for the most part, just very inclusive. So this year when we went virtual, we decided to change it up a little bit, and a lot of our middle schools have partnered up with other schools. So for instance, I'm at Rocky Run in the Western Fairfax. So we've partnered up with I partnered up with 4 other schools out that way. She wants to say hi real quick. Say hi. Okay, now go sit down. So I partnered up with 4 other schools, so that because we knew that, you know, our staff and stuff is really over the computer by the end of the day, and we weren't sure how many people were really going to want to work after school this year. So we've shared staff, and it's allowed us to expand our offerings to our students. So if Liberty Middle School has an awesome program, like they have photography program that's really great, and we don't have that at Rocky Run. So now my Rocky Run students have the ability to access that program. So we could share staff. And at the same time, the staff are getting clubs that are full of students that are really into that particular topic. We're typically, when we're in person, Sarah's mom might say, you need to stay after school today because I can't pick you up until 4 o'clock. Just figure out what you want to do. So then she's just going to plug herself into whatever club that might sound interesting. And maybe she's not totally into it. But now with virtual, the students that are participating are like really into that topic. So now our club sponsors, while they're working with not only students from their own school, they have like a wider net of students who are really into it. So that's been great. Of course, our attendance looks a little bit different than it has in the past. As Kara was talking about, middle school is all about social. They want to be connected. They want to build relationships with you and their peers. When we're in person, they stay after. They want to hang out in the gym. They want to hang out in the cafeteria. They want to hang out in the library. They want to be with their peers and be talking and playing. So now that we're virtual, we're trying to figure out how do we still get those kids included. So we're trying to have a really wide net and a lot of variety of clubs that students are interested in. So we're doing everything from cooking to sports to art and anime and video game stuff, STEAM activities, just so we can try to get a lot of students involved if they're interested. And that's the thing, is students right now more than ever are choosing to do these activities. There's not like the childcare component that even though they're middle schoolers, a lot of middle school parents don't really want them being home by themselves. So they've come to our after school program so that they're supervised and in a safe place. Now with virtual, the students are they're making the choice to stay on the computer a little bit longer every day, which our attendance numbers were at about 20 to 25% of our students at each middle school are attending, which is lower than usual, but it's still awesome. 20 to 25% of our students are choosing to stay on the computer for an extra 1 to 2 hours every afternoon. Some would like to stay on longer because they're really into the club that they're participating in. Like we have to be like, okay, we're done. I was supervising a filmmaking club one day because the sponsor wasn't there, and they're like, well, can we just stay on? I'm like, no, it's like almost 5:30. The club ended at 4:30. We have to get going. Well, how about if you just leave it open, and because we know you have to go, just leave it open and we'll continue chatting. I'm like, no. Okay, well, how about you start a new session and then we'll just join. I'm like, no, we're done for the day. You guys can come back, you know? So as long as you're giving them the platform where they have a topic that they're really into, they have time to engage with their peers in that group, and they're building relationships with you. That's what's going to keep them coming back week after week. So it's just, keeping it exciting. And like Kara said, keeping it relevant. We just want to keep the kids engaged. I know from the after school program development side, we are super excited about getting some more options into our program. It's a win-win for everybody. Just getting some new programs out there for our kids. We do like to cycle programs through to keep the program fresh. So I just met with my group yesterday, and for the start of the second quarter, we're looking to add some more options, open up clubs so that if kids weren't able to get in originally, now they can, just so that kids are staying excited and they're not getting bored. So typically when you run an after school program, 6 to 10 weeks is a great time frame to work with. So if you're going to be running a music program, maybe plan on anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks. We can meet, typically clubs meet once a week. If it was something that had to meet more, you could talk with your school representative about that. And typically once a week is good. And then 6 to 10 weeks. So our afternoons are divided up. We meet Monday through Friday, 2:30 until 4:30, 2 1-hour sessions. So 2:30 to 3:30 and 3:30 to 4:30. So we have clubs that will meet typically once a week in those sessions, and we put our schedules out every week. The way that my cohort has set it up this year is we have Google sign-up forms for kids to sign up if they're interested in participating. So then we could take a look at our numbers if we have to cap it or if we can accept more kids. So they would sign up that way. So we would have a registration list. And then we also have parent contact information in there, which is helpful. We like to keep the parents in the loop with what their students are doing after school. And then also in case we had to reach out to those parents because of any sort of issues. Now I have a fur child joining me too. So yeah, we like to keep parents involved, and we also need their contact information. So one of the things about joining schools is if I don't necessarily have contact information I only have contact information for students at my school. So if you're running a club and you have, and I'm helping you, and there's kids in there from another school, I wouldn't necessarily have their parent contact information. So by having them sign up, we have all of that captured. So if we had to contact parents, or if we wanted to just, send that parent email to keep parents in the loop with what's going on, that's how we would do that. I have some parents that are running after school programs for me this year. And then myself or another school employee would be linked with so that we can help moderate the program, and we can help monitor the chat. We can help with the logistics of making sure students all have access to that program, making sure students are staying appropriate, helping post information, because like Kara said, FCPS has everything locked down for student safety. So anyone outside of the network cannot access Google Classrooms. You can't even send emails to the students. It won't go through. And they also can't email you. So everything would have to go through the school employee. And that's totally fine. We do that for plenty of our sponsors. What else? If you are interested in getting involved, we will get Danielle the contact information so we can link you up. with different schools. I know there's 26 middle schools in Fairfax, and all of us are like always looking for more options of programs that we can offer. So once we know what your specialty is, if you're available, in that Monday through Friday, 2:30 to 4:30 timeframe, you will get scooped up. I don't have any doubt about that. But the key thing is, finding an activity that middle schoolers are really going to be interested in, and then being able to make those relationships. And like Kara was giving you a nice framework for, we start the session. I always start a session by keeping cameras off, chats off, welcome them. We have you can have a welcome screen, telling students, welcome, we're going to get started at 2:30, maybe a picture or something. And then we always start, and I remind the students that, okay, I'm going to be opening up your chat, your cameras in just a minute. The expectation is that we're going to be respectful and appropriate. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and open up your cameras now. Just remember that expectation. And to be honest, the students are choosing to do these activities like we talked about. Like, they really want to be there. So we don't watch this afternoon. My thing's going to blow up or something. I have all sorts of kid discipline, but we typically don't have that. We haven't really seen it because kids are choosing to do this. They're excited about it. They don't want to lose their spot in these programs. But we just remind them of the expectations. They are middle schoolers. Things happen, but we just, have conversations with students if something comes up and keep their parents in the loop, as Kara was talking about. So then, giving them that time where you can do your lesson, giving them time to work and engage with each other. A lot of them are hesitant to turn their cameras on, but you will see tons of activity in the chat. They are like, sometimes we have to say, okay, we're going to turn the chat off right now because we want everyone to be able to focus on the screen and on the lesson, because they're typing like crazy. So there'll be a lot of activity in there, and that's where it's helpful to have a school employee there helping you to moderate that, to make sure that everyone's keeping up with all the questions and comments and that types of stuff. Any questions for me about how after school runs or the logistics?
So I see, just really quick before we get to Nick, I see your hand raised. Shauna asked, what is the pay per hour?
We go by the FCPS temporary hourly scale, and it really depends on your experience. It would be, I can't say for sure because it depends on your experience and the type of program that you're offering, and if we are able to also pay for any planning time. Typically, our teachers make $22 an hour. So that's standard for them. And this year with virtual, since we know there is a lot of extra work that comes with virtual, and we also ask that they keep asynchronous materials posted in their Google Classrooms. That takes extra time. So we are paying them for some planning time as well. But then I also have like college students working for us. They're going to make like $15 to $19 an hour, depending on their skill set. But that's something we would have to talk about based on your experience and your skill set.
Okay, and then Shannon, I want to be mindful of your time, but I know Nick had one quick question.
Yeah, just hello, my name is Nick Newland. Sorry I was late, but I'm glad to be here. I do a juggling act called Nicola Whimsy. I've been doing that for about 30 years. I would like to teach juggling to middle schoolers. Therefore, their cameras would have to be on so that I could see what they're doing. But it's something that I've done a lot in person over the years, a little bit virtually, but that was why I signed on to this, because I'm interested in teaching juggling to middle schoolers. And I think that that's a great age to learn juggling. So, I'd be happy to contact offline about that. But basically, they would need to provide very basic equipment, some scarves and some tennis balls or something. And the class would be limited to, well, I don't know, 20. Anyway, that was why I jumped on here, because I'd like to teach virtual juggling to middle schoolers.
That would be awesome. We'd love to have you. The kids,
Great.
it's like the type of activity that it's something they wouldn't typically be getting. So yes, we would love, that's a great opportunity.
Good. Well, thank you. And I guess was this recorded since I missed most of it? So I guess we'll
Yes.
just be in touch offline about that. But anyway, thank you for the valuable information and look forward to doing more.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Shannon. We really appreciate your time and talking about the after school program. I know that you have to get off soon, but we can go ahead and bring it back over to Kara. I saw that there were a couple other questions that I want to kind of go back to. Let's see. So we had from Lisa, do you hire teachers outside of Fairfax County for IFTA? If so, then ArtsFairfax could help promote through their network or our network.
Yeah, so I actually do. That is pretty awesome. And we have a very, it's not a hard hiring process. You go to HR, you get fingerprinted, they make sure you're not a criminal, and then you fill out some paperwork, and then you get approved to work with kids. But it's not very often that we have people like Nick that are teachers in FCPS that also have that skill set. Like, I don't know of anybody else that works in FCPS that could teach juggling to children. And that is right up their alley. Like, that is perfect.
I don't actually work in FCPS.
I know that.
Oh, you do?
No,
Okay.
yeah. So one of the questions is for the Institute for the Arts, so the program that I run, do we hire people from outside of FCPS? And so that's why I was saying yes, like, I don't know anybody in FCPS that can do that. For example, I also hire a stage combat teacher that usually works with some of the local theaters, but he's not an FCPS teacher. And I have a personal friend of mine that was supposed to teach cake decorating and making and like kind of doing, it was really like consumer art umbrella that these kids would learn to create and decorate a cake based upon what an artist or what a client of theirs would want to hire for whatever event they're planning. And so kids were going to learn how to work with fondant and create flowers and things like that. That's not a skill set that they teach in Fairfax County Public Schools. And so for the Institute for the Arts, that's how I get kids to come in and sign up for my summer program. They can take cartooning, they can take all of these really unique classes that are coming from somebody that is their passion. They are a professional in that field. And so, yes, absolutely. I do hire people from outside. If you are on social media and you look for IFTA, Institute for the Arts, FCPS, you'll find all of my social media there. And I always advertise there as well when we're looking to hire teachers. So, if you follow along with that, you shouldn't miss the hiring notice. We usually don't even hire until March, April timeframe, which is just a few months before the program runs for the entire month of July. But yeah.
Great.
Yep, and that's also I think this year it'll be the 6th to the 30th. And then we have teacher work days on the 1st and the 2nd because the 4th falls on a weekend this year. And then the 5th is technically a holiday as well. So you wouldn't have to work on the 5th.
Perfect.
But yeah.
And then I saw that, and we may have already answered this, Sandra, but I know you had a question here about the process for independent artists and teachers working with teachers. I'm not sure if you wanted to elaborate on that, Sandra, at all, or... Oh, you're muted.
My questions have been answered.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah. Usually, I think Shannon said this, but usually what happens is that you'll get an aide or a teacher that is already working with the after school program. So they have the FCPS ID, they have the accounts, they have everything that you'll be linked with. And they'll be able to contact parents. They'll be able to whatever. They might not even be present in your class, but they will be there to help answer anything that's prevalent to school questions. You might have a question about, something that is relevant to that building that you need answered, and they'll be able to help you with that. And they'll also be able to connect you to the after-school specialist in that building. So Shannon is just one after-school specialist in her building, and she's connected with like 3 or 4 others, but across the county, there's like 30 of them. So they all have programs that are separate in each of those buildings that you can get involved with. But yeah, so you kind of get like like a mentor, like a little buddy that will be an FCPS employee that will be able to help you with whatever questions or issues. And they, for the most part, it might even be a current teacher in that building, and they can offer you a ton of guidance and suggestions on problems that you might have with certain kids, or issues with a lesson, or technology issues, and they can connect you with technology people in those buildings that might be able to help you, or the students that might be having problems. So they are a wealth of information and knowledge for you to be able to have at your fingertips, which is great.
Wonderful. So I know we're kind of wrapping things up a little early, but I kind of figured this would be a shorter session. Are there any other, this is kind of last call for questions before I start to wrap things up. Anybody? Okay. Well,
and also, if you have, I just want to interject one thing. If you have ideas about things that you plan to do with middle school students, but you're not quite sure, would this be good? Would this not be good? Please email me. I absolutely can totally help you with that. I taught middle school for 6 years before moving on to high school. And I taught elementary school. So those kids that are rising, 6th and 7th graders, I know where they're coming from and I know where they're going. And I have no problem helping you with ideas or, themes or concepts. So my name, Kara Drinkwater, on the screen. My email is KM as in Michelle. So KM Drinkwater, all together, no space, no capitals, anything like that, at fcps.edu. Very easy. So KM Drinkwater at fcps.edu. Absolutely. So that way, if you're wondering like, oh, I teach this, do you think this would be good? Or what are some good themes, or, kind of overarching ideas? I would say some things that you want to stay clear of when planning lessons for kids are like social issues. Don't go near social issues. Keep it light, keep it fun, keep it, entertaining, and enjoyable and positive, because the kids, they have enough social issues in their lives. They get enough from their cell phones and from the TV and politics and all that. It's just not anything you want to touch with them. So yeah, just keep it positive, keep it light and enjoyable. And I know that the kids will really enjoy connecting with someone that is, a professional in that field, because it's not often that they get that with their classroom teachers. So if you can bring something to them that they can't get from FCPS schools, how valuable that is. It's incredible. So yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping things up. As Kara mentioned, and then I know Shannon also mentioned, I'll be sharing with everybody, like I have been in previous emails, the presentation that Kara shared, and then also contact information. I want to thank Kara and then also Shannon for their wonderful presentation. We really appreciate your time and speaking with all of us.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to thank everybody for participating, and for those of you who have been to all of our sessions. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your coming, and I think that everyone has kind of taken away a wealth of knowledge with this series.
Yeah.
So with that, we have, I know I've been talking about this in previous sessions, there is an evaluation form that I'm going to be sending out to everybody. And this will include whether you've been to 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the sessions. I'll put a link here, but I'll also send with a follow-up email. It'll just take a few minutes to complete, and it really does help us as we continue shaping future workshops and things like that. This is the final session, so you can look, honestly, probably just wait. I'll be sending an email update once we have all of the recorded sessions on our website and ready to go. But I will be following up with everybody about that. And if you haven't connected to ArtsFairfax, you can tag us at ArtsFairfax or use our hashtag ArtsFairfax, and continue the conversation. And then kind of a last call for letting everybody know that we have that second round of emergency relief and recovery grants for artists available. The deadline is October 30th, and we encourage all Fairfax residents to apply. All right. And if that's it, I'm going to send everybody off, and we can definitely connect via email after this.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your day.